I'm not like one of these, shucks, that kind of thing. But I am here to tell you, Sadie Washington and Howard Isley just coached their backsides off. I knew when I spoke to many of you yesterday, I was confident that I could manage a game. Those two guys, just absolutely extraordinary. And to the Big Ten Network, and I'll say the same to you, what you're seeing there are two future head coaches. Okay? America needs to know that. America needs to know that. When I spoke to Juwan Howard last night, he said, I feel fine. I have the best coaching staff in America. And again, I get it. It's a story, my whole background. But that was Sadie Washington and Howard Isley. And then those young guys. Before they went on the court, I asked them to play hard, to play smart, and to play together. And they played together. They were connected, 15 strong. Because not just what you saw on the floor, but think about that. Moussa Diabate and Terrence Williams played scout team. Right? And they weren't half in, right? Around here, you're 4 feet. Both your feet and your hands are in, or you're not around here. That win was because of the character that Juwan Howard has insisted that we recruit to. So I'm humbled to serve. And to serve with Sadie and Howard and Jay Smith and Chris Hunter. Everybody did their thing. And not just for these 40 minutes, but since the last, whatever it is now. 72 hours, is it 80 hours? I don't know. But those guys deserve game balls and letter jackets or whatever the heck you give them for it. But they did it, really.
A lot of times in emotional situations, you see teams respond either one way or the other. And when it's positive, that first game out of the chute is filled with so much energy. But then you watch them taper off. How do you keep this and how do you bottle this going forward?
I don't know. I really don't. Because I will suggest to you that Tuesday's practice was that like dip. Monday was solid, Tuesday was the dip. And what I think with all that's going on, with all that went on and then all that's going on, okay? So, well, how many wins do we need? Or what? And you have 5 games? No, we don't. We had yesterday and today. Now we're off tomorrow. And when you have a leader like Eli Brooks, we'll have their attention. We'll have their attention on Friday to play an afternoon game on Sunday against a nationally ranked team. But in this league, tonight is tonight. And tomorrow we'll deal with that. But we do have off, which is a big deal. To your point, it's a big deal to have a day off. And everybody needs to breathe, right? Everybody around here. Administration, staff, players, everybody needs to breathe. And now Friday can be about basketball.
Over here with Steve.
Hey, Phil. Caleb was talking to us about how you stressed everybody needs to be the best version of themselves. Talk about that and talk about the version that you got tonight, particularly of Caleb, and how important his scoring is to this team winning.
Well, him scoring opens the floor. I just made mention to somebody, I don't know how long it went in the second half before Hunter got a shot. Right? I didn't know. But Caleb was shooting the ball, right? To me, to me, and I'm not a shooting instructor or anything, but the only thing that's important for Caleb Houston's level shooters is the next shot, not the last shot. And for long periods of time this year, you've all watched him, it's the last shot that, even in practice, the last shot. No, let the ball go. Let the ball go. Like I thought one of the best plays that Caleb made all night, they went zone one time in the first half, he cut back door, and it was a great pass, and I think the kid erased his layup. But you know what? I got a layup against the zone. That's like processing the game. So, look, he has a brilliant stroke. He has a brilliant stroke, but he hasn't been beaten down by, oh my God, they don't think I'm that anymore, or they're questioning this. He puts in an awful lot of work on his own. He's got his own little managerial crew that works with him. He'll be in here tomorrow morning shooting. And the idea of the best version, that's always been a big deal to me, and it became amplified with everybody saying, well, what are you going to do without Musa? What are you going to do without Terrence? Well, you can't. Musa is a different player than anybody else we have, and so is Terrence. So if everybody was to come in, and at the end of 40 minutes say, I was the best version of myself, and it didn't go our way, walk out with your head high. But if one guy wasn't the best version of himself, shame on us. Shame on you, and shame on us. Because this was about representing their families, this was about representing Michigan, and this was about representing their teammates. And I give them 5 stars, each and every one of them, for the way they performed.
Chris?
Coach, 21 minutes for Kobe. What's the difference between the kid that you got initially at the beginning of the season and now for him to earn that much play time? Obviously, the short bench helps.
Yeah, the short bench helps, but again, work. It's work, and the right. Not that he was focused on the wrong things, but focused on the things that are important here. Like he got really angry with himself in the second half because he allowed a dribble drive. That wouldn't have happened 6 weeks ago. It definitely didn't happen 3 months ago. So again, it's growth, and it's really interesting with Kobe because I talked to him one day. His jumper looks different, right? His jumper looks different. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, I study Eli. He said, I like how Eli gets. And I said, well, then take it a step further and study Eli's game. Like Eli comes off of those handoffs on a sprint. Eli's the best perimeter defender. Okay, so study the whole, not just his jumper, but study the whole game, the whole thing. And, just me. I'm not one that says, oh my God, great shot. But on the pull up on the fast break, I went, oh my God, great shot.
Larry?
Phil, can you share your emotions with that big hug you got before you went into the tunnel?
I would put it to you this way. I'm here to serve. And to be acknowledged for serving is very much appreciated. Okay? But I will share this with you, and I share this with the players, the last statement I made to them before they went on the court. Ward Manuel did not ask me to try to coach the team. Right? Try. He said, do it. So I did it. And I mean that, I don't mean that singularly. Like, we did it. And the players did it. because no one said try. They asked us to do it.
Andrew?
Was being a head coach again after a few years of not doing it, was it just like, I guess, riding a bike, or were there times when you had to remind yourself, yeah, I'm responsible for this now, not someone else?
Well, I would say this. I would say it this way. All day today, I realized, like, yo, you're back. And the way I knew it is my stomach was a mess. And, you know, the people that, you know, I don't believe that they were superstitions, they were rituals, okay? But for a very, 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 very long time, on a game day, I would not speak to anybody, I would not shave, I would not shower, I would not eat. I didn't want to really be engaged. And then my grandson, who some of you may know the story, he was living with us, and he started to want to be around me on game day. My own wife, like, she doesn't count the game days as days we've been married. And so today, I was like, oh, I got up and it started. And it really it dissipates only at one moment in time. When I walk out of the tunnel here, when I walk on the court. Because at that point in time, to be honest with you, the work is done. It's now them playing the game and following the plan, and yeah, you have to work the officials and call the timeouts and do all that kind of stuff, make the substitutions. But somebody in Philadelphia sent me a text today and said, you know, like, what are you going to do? You got to stand up for 3 hours. And I was like, yeah, but I felt like I was in a bubble. And I do want to make mention, and the Mays Rage, the ovation that they gave me when I went out there meant a lot.
Tom?
Phil, I've talked to several former players in the last couple of days, and they all behind the program, and they think this could be that galvanizing moment where the team unites and has a nice run, 5 runs in the regular season Big Ten tournament. Do you feel some galvanization going on, potentially moving forward?
I don't want to minimize that, and I want to say this, that this program today and those players today maximize this day. The challenge is daily improvement. So tomorrow they need to maximize their day, even though it's an off day. And then we go. I've never been a huge fan of this, like, this. I believe each game is a separate entity. So now we have a challenge on Friday to prepare for Illinois. But I will say this. When you see smiles and when you hear laughter, it's easier to make your point about the very next challenge. And I can't be any more emphatic about this day off tomorrow is like gold for all of us.
Cool.
You mentioned speaking with Juwan last night. I don't know if you've had a chance to check in with him tonight, but what's the message that you want him to receive about what you guys did tonight?
That he's loved, and that his love for the players allowed them to perform like that.
Nick?
Hey Phil, you mentioned Eli Brooks. How did his leadership kind of help you tonight and leading up to this game specifically?
I just think he's like an extraordinary dude, you know, like he when you look around and say, okay, who do I want with me, you go, okay, he's the first guy that I want with him. I just jokingly told him, by the way, that, and I will raise my hand and say, I did not aggressively recruit him, but had I aggressively recruited him and gotten him, he'd have played 40 minutes every night. I mean, you know, those that have checked my track record, your starters are your starters for a reason. You know, they earned that spot. So if we can get them through, we're going to try to get them through. We had other guys ready. You know, we wanted to give it 10 guys if we could. But I just think his experiences, like not just his experiences playing the game and in the Big Ten, but just take a moment and think about the teammates that Eli has had and how he's dealt with that, right? Like he's dealt with Xavier Simpson, strong ball handling guard, a strong voice. He's played with Franz Wagner. He's played with these guys, and he played with guys his freshman year that I don't even know, right? I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I was busy. I don't know who was on that roster, right? But Eli has navigated the waters, and man, I'm glad he's on our team.
Claire?
Did Juwan tell you where he planned to watch the game, and can you at all put yourself in his shoes, what that was like to watch his team play on TV?
I cannot. And I was asked that today by my wife, and I can't. The only thing I would compare it to is, now I know you'll find this really hard to believe, but I was asked to leave 2 games by the referees during my career. I'm not exactly sure why they asked me to leave. Maybe some of the words that I used, but that was torture. Like being in a locker room and watching this game and thinking, like, I let everybody down. And we won one of those games, and then it was suggested to me that I leave the next game and the next game and the next game because we had won. But then we lost the other game. But I don't know. I don't know how he did it. And I have not talked to him yet.
You got one final one from Tim?
Hi, Phil. So you credited Sadie and Howard Isley on a good coaching job. What exactly goes into that warrants a compliment?
Well, Howard Isley was the offensive coordinator, right? So very similar to a football staff. He made those calls, right? And we had a system at the timeout, right? I said yesterday that Juwan Howard has a Rolodex of ATOs. That's not what I have. I don't have that. So we were setting the first play up coming out of each timeout. And again, credit goes to Frankie Collins, to Eli Brooks, and DJ, because they were connected with Howard Isley. Now, I will tell you, we practiced that. Like, he actually went to the spot where he was on the bench, and he was making the calls during practice both Monday and Tuesday, right? I just thought, let's leave nothing to chance. Okay, so, and Sadi has been defensive coordinator, right? But the lob against the zone, that was Sadi's fault, okay? That was my fault. Not throwing anybody under the bus. And we can, we could yuck it if we want, so. That was his call to go zone. I appreciate everybody, and thank you for your understanding through this whole process.